Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Blether with me, Gary.
And with me, William, and thanks for joining us once again in this rather special Blether tonight, Gary, isn't it?
It certainly is. We really enjoyed our chat with Marjorie McLaughlin last month, the editor of the Scottish Country Dancer magazine, and by all accounts, so did you. So we very much look forward to the autumn edition of our magazine coming very, very soon.
Very, very soon, hopefully. That'll be great. But with us today, we've got a special guest to the Blether, and it's someone who's no strangers to members of the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society or dancers throughout the world, and indeed Scottish music fans in general. Not only a fine musician in her own right, but Jennifer is the producer of BBC Radio Scotland's longest running programme, Take the Floor.
Yes, a very
Right.
warm welcome to Jennifer Cruickshank.
Hey.
Good evening. Lovely to chat with you. I feel we need a wee bit of Kate Dalrymple in there somewhere.
Well, it's a deal among the tailors that tops and tails this, Jennifer. So we're all right. We're all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The deal suits us kind of well, which is fine. But no, absolutely great to see you, and it's lovely to turn the tables on you a wee bit because you very kindly had Gary and myself on Take the Floor a couple of times last year to talk about the centenary of the society. And I think right away, isn't it important that BBC Scotland, Take the Floor, and the Country Dance Society, we work together. We need each other in this day and age, particularly.
Absolutely. Scottish dance bands need programs like Take the Floor to give them a platform to play, but the bands need dancers and dancers all over the world to invite them in fantastic trips around the world, which many of our bands have been on and enjoyed. But even for the music, for them to listen to the music at home, yeah, we need it. It's a share situation, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, the dancing's done me the world of good this last week, I have to say, Gary.
Yes, certainly has. And just, I think before we get into the kind of in word about William's latest trip to Hairmyres Hospital in Lanarkshire and Dumfries General Infirmary, a little wee bit of a overnight stay, or a few nights stay you had.
I did. I had 2 or 3 nights at the government's expense, which is very, very nice. No, I had a little episode, which is a kind of family trait. Basically rushed up to Hairmyres Hospital, had a stent put in my heart, and then back down to the lovely Dumfries and Galloway Royal Infirmary for 2 nights to stay, and all is well. And very complimentary about the dancing because I'm back to normal immediately, fit, and they don't want to see me for a while. But I just want to say a huge thank you to this lovely family of ours, as we joke about. But when they go and get stuff, they really are a family. I've had messages from dancers and branches all over the world. And a huge thank you to you all. And we'll see you on the dance floor very, very soon. So there we are.
And the great thing is you're back fighting fit.
Absolutely.
Still taking it a little bit easy.
Am I?
Hopefully. And not giving Linda too much bother.
No. Well, Linda, of course, was a nursing sister. So I've got no chance, to be honest. Absolutely no chance. But again, the National Health Service in Scotland, second to none. It was absolutely superb. And I've everything to thank them for, and lots of laughs with them as well, which is great. So, but anyway,
it's great to see you
thank
back
you to everybody. Thanks, Gary, very much indeed, and thank you, Gary, personally as well, not just for taking over the reins of the society, which I'm glad to say has survived, but for your personal support as well, because you were in touch every day, which was great. Thanks for that. Anyway,
back to Jennifer, I think, will we?
Jennifer. So many of us will remember you as Jennifer Forrest, of course, with your own dance band. Tell us about your own music career. How did that all start?
Well, my grandfather played the fiddle and my dad had a wee go at the box as well. My sister and I were sent to piano lessons like so many other children. And my dad and my grandfather took me to a Musselburgh Music Festival, which is the National Association of Accordion Fiddle Festival. And it was, I think, their 3rd year. And they took me there and I saw all these young people playing the accordion and I thought, I want to do that. That's something I want to do. So I got an accordion. I was quite young, maybe about 8, 9 years old. Could read music because of the piano. And I got lessons from a local teacher. And I think when my mum and dad realised I was quite serious about wanting to do this, they put me to a fantastic teacher just outside Whitburn. I used to play football for Rangers, actually. Wilson Wood, a great gentleman, fantastic, not just as a tutor, but someone who really psyched you up and made you want to work, and almost make these pupils compete against each other, just giving me a wee bit of fight about you. And if it wasn't for him, I don't suppose I would be doing anything that I'm doing now. Not my job or playing music or my family playing music. My life might have been very, very different. So I've got everything to thank him for.
Yeah. Jennifer, isn't it? Yeah. Go on, Gary. Sorry.
I think we're probably about to say the same thing, but that person that inspires you
That's
is
it.
hugely important,
Yeah.
isn't it? We see that in the dancing side of things as well. You know, you get a teacher. Jessie Stewart was my teacher, and it was her that inspired me to keep going and, you know, to become a teacher and achieve all the things I've managed to achieve. But it is that person that manages to inspire you that really keeps you going, isn't it?
It is funny. Yeah.
I think you go through stages in your life as well, you know, when it wasn't actually that cool to play the accordion at school. I was the only one, but I don't know, somehow you're accepted, and the opportunities, I think people saw the opportunities I was given by playing the accordion, that it made it quite cool. And
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know,
Honestly, that's absolutely right, Jennifer. I remember the same thing myself, because obviously as a young boy, I was the only boy that danced. Doing Highland dancing, I played the trumpet. I wanted to be a geographer, actually. You know, maps are my big thing. But certain people in your life point you in another direction, and the rest is history, as you say. It's quite incredible. But yeah, as a kid, and the funny thing was, I was also quite good at sports, so I could beat them on the badminton court. So I never got really bullied, because it was a chance, you know, dancer, a boy, and back in that, you know, in that decade. I'm not going to tell you what decade that was, Gary, but there was a chance, but it never did, because I think they saw me, as you say, getting opportunities and going places, you know, with the dancing and the music and so on. Yeah, they kind of cheered me on in a funny kind of way. And it works.
And I'm glad to see that's the way it is nowadays. It's now cool to play a traditional music instrument at school. Most kids, you know, they go and get an opportunity to do it and take it up. And it's quite cool, which is amazing to see.
And you've inspired your own children to play as well, and you've got your own family band.
I don't think they really had much of an option, to be quite honest.
I think in the household, it's probably in the genes for a start. But
they wanted to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They were seeing other youngsters, you know, playing, and they were looking up to them, and now good friends with a lot of these people as well. And they saw, you know, what a great social life that we had through music, and friendships that we made, not just here in Scotland, but worldwide. And I think it was just what they saw and what they accepted to be everyday life.
Of course, husband's a great bass player, isn't he? Of course, he's well known to everybody.
And a chancer on the fiddle too.
Very good, very good.
I thought you were just going to stop at chancer, Jennifer.
Full stop.
Yeah. When you had the dance band, Jennifer, you must have played for lots of Scottish country dancing. And did you get great support from the dancers? Do you feel that as a band?
Yeah, well, you know, one of my very first jobs was on a Saturday morning going to Airdrie to play for the children's Scottish country dance classes. I played for a lady called Irene here. Her mum and dad were great dancers as well. And she ran the Monklands branch for the younger children, and she had 3 classes. The oldest ones danced first from 9:30 to 10:30. Then the medium class went in the middle, and then the wee tiny ones came in at the end and did their hour. And I mean, Irene gave me a great opportunity to go and play, because I mean, I didn't know anything about playing for Scottish country dancing. You needed an original tune. What's an original tune? Someone gave me a bag of books with all these tunes in it, and it was like a gift. You couldn't believe what you were been handed here. And just she gave me a chance to put together some sets of jigs, some sets of reels. And it really was a huge, huge learning curve. And from that, I got to go and play for an adults class in Airdrie as well on a Tuesday night, again through Irene. And yeah, I just loved it, and I learned so much, and about the discipline, about what it was all about. And then when you formed your own band, it was just a joy to go and play for dancing like that. I just loved it.
And you would play on Take the Floor as a band, did you?
Yes, I did my first broadcast when I was about 19 with my own band and Take the Floor. And that programme would be a mix of, 2-4 marches, 6-8 marches, but some well-known march reels and jigs and strathspeys. And yeah, the programme was a right mix.
Yeah. And what about getting onto the BBC then? When did you start to work for the BBC? How did that come about?
Well, when I left school, I really wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something with music. I thought we'd been becoming a piano tuner at one point, but I applied to the BBC and got a job as an audio engineer. So that was working across radio and television. And I was based in Glasgow at the time. The BBC train you for 3 years. Quite rigorous training, but I did love it. But I loved working in programs, especially radio. Radio is fast paced, where television, you've got so many other things to consider, lighting, camera angles, and so on. So it's much more a team thing. But I worked in fantastic productions, Scotch and Rye and things like that in my day in Glasgow.
Oh,
but
wow.
I always loved radio. Radio was always going to be the thing I did. And then when I got married, moved to Aberdeen in 1990, and that was again as an audio engineer. So I came to Aberdeen as that, and I worked in the audio team in Aberdeen. It was a much smaller team, so you were thrown into everything. And then the BBC kind of changed its structure just a little and introduced something called a production coordinator. So not only did you do audio for that programme, you also got involved in the production. And I was attached to the music department, which was fantastic for me. My goodness, working with Robbie Shepherd, who wouldn't love it? And I worked across what the time was, Shepherd's Fancy on a Monday night. There was, of course, Robbie's local radio programmes as well. And there was the Real Blend, and then, of course, Take the Floor. So I was very fortunate to be able to work on all of that.
And as the producer, you're producer now of Take the Floor, and have been for quite a while now. What does your normal week look like, if there is a normal week, and what's involved in producing such a fantastic programme?
Well, there's quite a lot of different elements to it. My normal week is I work a Sunday because of your request programme we've got now as well. I work a Sunday and I work through to a Thursday. So there's different elements to Take the Floor. The main element's the band. So the band session can be recorded at any point. It's to suit the band and obviously to suit what I do as well. Often it's a Sunday because a lot of the musicians are free on a Sunday. And the session can be recorded in Aberdeen, Glasgow, or even Edinburgh. So get the band in, and the session's about 3 hours long to record the band, and they've really to work for that. They've got a lot of music to go through. They're recording about 46 minutes of music in a session, which is a lot of music. And then I get all that material back, and then I've got to edit it into making it into dances, as it were. And then I ask the bands to give me some notes and tunes if they've got any notes and tunes or dances. And if it's, I feel I want to add to that, I do a bit of research, looking up your own website to find out what book a certain dance came from, who the dance deviser was, why is it called that, is that the right original tune? I check all that kind of thing, along with, looking for composers if people don't know composers. So then you start to collate that into a bit of a script, which I then can hand on to the presenter. But that's only the first hour of the programme. There's a second hour of the programme where we have guests as well, and they can be from any walk of kind of traditional music. They can be a celebrity, they can be a musician, they can be a band leader, they can be a Scottish country dancer, they can be absolutely anything they want to be. And we get them on, we interview them. Again, that can be edited, we add music in, and then we fill up the programme with the new albums that come out, emails that people email in about, if there's something they want to ask about a tune, we can do a bit of research. So it's putting all that together. And when I've got all that done, I send it to Gary, and then he can add on his own stamp in it as well. He's the presenter. He's got to use his own, phrases and his own language. Although I must admit, the longer you write for somebody, you start to sound like them when you write for them.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's terrific. And Take the Floor, I mean, it wasn't always called Take the Floor. I mean, we go right back here to the 1930s and the Scottish Home Service with a Scottish dance music programme. I mean, I'm of an age,
I remember it well.
Well, I do. Yeah, when you were running about causing havoc in Keith as a wee boy, we were getting ready to go out to the dancing. And I remember my mum and dad and everybody listened to the Scottish dance music as they were getting ready to go out. I can remember, folk were getting washed and shaved and changed, and while the Scottish dance music was blaring through the house. And then, of course, the first presenter, of course, was the great David Finlay, who I think actually took over from somebody else, I seem to remember, in the early days, because there was a program, wasn't there a program called Heather Mixture on Radio 2 with Jimmy Shand, I think. Bill took it. Bill, I forget his name as
Bill
well.
Jack.
Was it Bill
Bill
Jack?
Jack?
It's Bill Jack. You're absolutely right. And I think
So
David
Scottish,
took over from that, didn't he?
well, the original Scottish dance music was on 3 times a week. I don't know if people will remember that. I don't remember that, just
No,
to
I don't
put that
remember.
out there. It was on 3 times a week, and then it did change to once a week, and it was presented by BBC announcers.
Yeah.
So they didn't have knowledge of Scottish dance music. They were BBC announcers, and they spoke very proper.
Very probably.
And David Finlay was a BBC announcer,
Was.
but because he had a love of Scottish dance music and played piano in the Olympians band,
Uh-huh.
he got the job as presenter of what was Scottish dance music then. And he had a lovely polished voice, didn't he? He had a great voice.
He did. He absolutely did. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very knowledgeable too, because he played in the band. And that's where there's a great link here, Jennifer, with the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society, because it was the Olympians who played every Thursday night at the Younger Hall at summer school. It was always the Olympians with David on the piano, and for sometimes Bobby Crow, I think, played box, didn't he? And then, of course, it had a trumpet in it as well, the band. Which Doug, I think Doug played the trumpet in the band, if I remember. I'm just trying to remember all these names. But so there's a great link with the RSCDS and the Olympians and David Finlay. But he had a wonderful radio voice. And, you know, I don't know about you, Jennifer, but of course I worked in radio as well a bit, which we'll maybe come on to later. But for me, there is a radio voice. And I sometimes worry that we've lost a lot of that folk come onto the radio, because the voice is everything on the radio. Would you not agree? The voice is absolutely everything.
Yeah, but I think things have changed. I think people accept dialect now, and that was a big thing. I think Robbie Shepherd did so much to pave the way for that, because he came on and although when Robbie came on at first, he did speak. I want to say Queen's English, but maybe that's an exaggeration. But he really did modify his voice to be well understood, no matter where he was broadcasting to. I think as time went on, Robbie could allow himself to become more as he spoke normally, just use his normal dialect. And I think we all do that to a degree. I mean, I think when we speak on the radio, I think you do try just that wee bit harder to pronounce things. We don't always do it, because I know Gary and I in the Sunday programme, we both have a laugh and we forget even we're on here, and we speak the way we speak. But yeah, I think we're always mindful at Yarn Radio.
I wasn't thinking so much of dialect, because I like dialect. I think it's terrific. I think sometimes it's the tone of the voice and the pitch of the voices can, sometimes grate a wee bit, but that's a debate for another day. But Gary, you'll remember when the days of Robbie when Take the Floor came along, of course.
Oh, absolutely. As a young loon, or for our international audience, young boy, growing up in the northeast of Scotland, hearing Robbie Shepherd in the same dialect as me on the radio was just great, because you didn't hear it very often on any media when I was growing up. And in fact, a lot of the time we were discouraged from speaking it. So actually hearing it on our national radio was just wonderful. But Jennifer, it must have been fantastic to work with Robbie. He was such I suppose, a kind of northeast bird, might be a Coothie Manny, and he would have been wonderful to work with.
Yeah, Robbie was great to work with. Absolutely. He loved routine. He was first in the office every day. Maybe the news people get in front of him and no more, but he would be in at the crack of dawn, and he was always so well prepared. For every programme he went to record, he was always prepared. He was a real home bird. So you would travel all over Scotland and he would just want to go home, at the end of the recording or whatever. But always felt part of a team, we was a small team we went out to record with Take the Floor. We had audio engineers with us and a producer and a PA with us and Robbie. So we're a very small team. So we knew each other really, really well. And Robbie just took part in the fun that we had, away from once the serious days work was over, we'd sit down, have a wee dram together, and Robbie just loved the fun of that. He did.
Yeah. Jennifer, this is so nostalgic for me as well, because back in the 1990s, BBC Radio Sol, we had all these wonderful little BBC stations dotted around the country, and I did some work doing the news at Radio Solway, and also had my own wee programme, the Monday Mix, while Robbie was doing his programmes that you mentioned earlier up in BBC Aberdeen. And I remember I guested on his programme and he guested on my programme back then. And then, of course, we met a couple of times on Take the Floor. One was a live broadcast, I remember, with Alan Gardner's band from Princess Street Gardens. And a lot of laughs that night, I remember. We had such great fun down in Princess Street Gardens. So it's very nostalgic to talk about Robbie. And of course, we're looking forward, and I'm delighted that I'm going to be able to come up and take part in the concert that you're planning. Maybe tell us about this. This is great news.
Yeah, well, it's not that far away now. It's happening on the Sunday, the 20th of October, His Majesty's Theatre in Aberdeen. And 4 of us got together: Robert Lovey, the great entertainer, a gentleman, Craig Pike, who has loads of theatre experiences and also worked with a group called the Flying Pigs, which did a lot of comedy stuff based in Aberdeen. And another gentleman you may know the name of, Raymond Jappy, who's a great fiddler as well as piano player. So the 4 of us got together and we thought it'd be nice to put something together to leave some lasting legacies in Robbie's memory. Because Robbie did so much, not just, for individual people, but for a lot of big groups of people, supported youngsters, etc. So there's several lasting legacies that will come out that I can come on to later. But the night is funds from everything we make. Everyone is giving their time free of charge, which is lovely. And we're putting on a full production. It's not just a concert, it's a full production on His Majesty's Theatre stage, a place that Robbie and Esma, his wife, were very fond of in Aberdeen. What have we got? We've got combined fiddles of Aberdeen, Bankery and the Scottish Fiddle Orchestra going to play. We've got 2 pipe bands. We've got Lonach Highlanders. We've got Atholl Highlanders. We've got flag bearers from all the major Highland Games circuits joining us. We've got an all-star Scottish dance band. We've got dancers from the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society. We've got Highland dancers. We've got bothy ballad singers. We have got some solo guests as well. We've got Karen Matheson and Donald Shaw. We've got Ali Bean and Violet Tulloch. We've got Jamie McDougall singing, with Siobhan Miller singing. And the 4 of us are also going to take part along with the Flying Pigs as well. So it's a real kind of mix. The show is a real mix, but we're trying to show all the loves of music that Robbie had. The Highland Games scene is all going to be one scene, representing. Robbie spoke at, commentated to so many games, I think 8 in total around about the Grampian area. So that's all going to be represented. The Scottish dance scene to obviously show Take the Floor. He was a lover of fiddle music. We've got the fiddles of the societies, but we've also got Ali Bain, Violet Tulloch. He was a very good friend of Violet and Ali's. So it's just trying to combine all these people. We've thought we could have doubled it. We could have really doubled the cast. But we're trying to just pull everyone together, and it is coming together. We had a meeting today and the show is coming together beautifully. And it's delightful that the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society are going to be part of that. Gary will tell you exactly what they're dancing because he knows he's dancing. It's an all-star band. I just don't know how good the all-star band will be, but I'm sure we'll polish ourselves up.
Oh, it'd be absolutely brilliant, Jennifer. Knowing who's going to be or some of the folk that are likely to be in that all-star band, I think that's going to be a pretty special band. But in RSCDS, we're very honoured to be asked to be part of this production, because Robbie, of course, was a recipient of our Scroll of Honour, which is the highest honour that we bestow on members and people who've made a huge contribution to Scottish country dancing and Scottish country dance music. A very well deserved recipient, and we're very honoured to be part of the production. And I'll maybe not spoil it for the folks that have bought tickets who are going to come along and see. You will tell the dancers that are taking part what we're dancing, Gary, won't you? Sometime soon. Yeah, that'd be useful. Well, I might share that with the dancers at some point. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. That'll be such a great honour. When is it taking place, Jennifer, and where can folk get tickets?
Sunday the 20th of October, and tickets are on sale. A lot of the tickets have gone. We've even had to open the gods, which is an amazing achievement to be able to over 1,000 tickets are sold, and at the moment we've raised over £100,000.
Wow.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll put the link into the the description when
yeah, and there is a Just Giving page that if people who can't be there that would like to put some money forward for the legacies that we're leaving for Robbie. For example, 2 bursaries is going to be left, one going to young musicians, another one going for Doric language. And that's just an example of some of the legacies that are going to be. One that I really love is the University of Aberdeen are creating a sweet pea variety called Robbie Shepherd, and there's going to be a sweet pea garden in Aberdeen, which I think is just beautiful.
Very nice. What a great idea. That's smashing. So Jennifer, I mean, all of this is happening and we've run out of time. It's just been absolutely terrific talking to you. And I'm sure for our dancers, you know, putting a face behind the producer is just great for everybody. So what about the future though? I mean, let's face it, the BBC, broadcasting in general, it changes like nothing on earth, doesn't it? You're in the middle of all this. Tightening budgets and so on, and how do we protect and how do we look after Take the Floor as our longest running programme and our great Scottish dance music programme on a Saturday night? Is it all looking okay?
It's all looking good, but listen, if you listen to it, and whether it's, you know, on as it's broadcast or if you go into BBC Sounds, listening figures are really important. Yep. So if we've got the listeners listening and everyone can see what's been listened to, that will certainly strengthen the case of every programme. But the BBC have got a commitment to broadcast in Scotland, and they appreciate the importance of traditional music, which is hugely important. Not just Scottish dance music, there's travelling folk as well. So it's not just Scottish dance music that we're promoting all walks of traditional music across Scotland. And we've got to keep doing that. And where I can fight a corner, I will continue to fight that corner, because it's my passion. It's what I believe in.
Yeah. And I think as well as promoting it, though, it brings people together as well. And you see that particularly, I think, through your requests show on the Sunday, where you're getting requests coming in from all over the world. You know, and a bit like, you know, the RSCDS has got that community. So has Take the Floor, so has your requests, so has Travelling Folk. And I think all of us together create that community of dancers, musicians, enthusiasts, Scottish music enthusiasts. But I think Take the Floor and your requests in particular creates that community where, you know, almost people can speak to each other. And we've seen that through the programme where you've found relatives or, you know, found long lost friends that have kind of connected again through the programme.
Well, I'll quickly tell you how your request came about. It was right at the start of COVID. And the BBC told us to pack up our desks and all go home and work from home. Mm-hmm. And as everyone was working round about me, packing up their stuff, I said, we should put in a programme offer. And they all looked at me as if I had 2 heads. And I said, honestly, we should put in a request programme. Let people say hello to each other. If your parents in Glasgow and you stay in Thurso, how are you going to say hello to each other?
Absolutely.
It's a great idea. So I wrote it, they said, write it down. So I wrote the offer. We were on air within 3 weeks, which never happens in the BBC. Nothing's quick in the BBC. And we've been on, and I only meant it to last COVID. I only did mean the programme to last COVID. But they went to take it off and we could see the second lockdown looming. So they kept it on. And it's now a stage, I think if they took it off now, there'd be a total outcry, because it's lovely. We get ladies and gentlemen, you know, celebrating 100th birthday and Gary can give them a song. We get a baby being born and we get an engagement and we get a 5-year-old's birthday and we get everything in between.
Yeah. That's absolutely great, Jennifer, indeed. But I mean,
and I should add that it's Gary Innes that sings, not me.
No, it's not you.
No,
because that would be a disaster. That would put your figures right down, Jennifer.
We're going to put a warning up at the end just in case folk. I was going to get our producer to put a wee thing up at the end just to make sure everybody was aware of that. So thank you for committing to that, Gary. That's great. But look, hey, we've run out of time, but it's been absolutely great, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining us, and keep up the great work. And as I say, whatever the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society can do for Take the Floor and vice versa, where it's all important to each other. We really have to work together to keep our dancing, keep our music relevant in this crazy modern world that we're in. But you know, the society's in good heart. Our membership is steady. It's really is. Yeah, there wasn't a joke there.
That was quite a good, good
There
heart,
wasn't.
William.
It really is in good heart. And thanks again for everything you do to support us, and whatever we can do for you, we will do as well, Gary. So what's up next week, Gary, or next month, I should say? Next month?
Next month, yes. We're very excited to have Lizzie Conder, who is our treasurer, the RSCDS treasurer, is going to join us. We have asked her that we speak a bit more about other stuff and not just finances.
Because Jennifer,
the viewing figures.
Yes, because Jennifer, Gary, and I sit at these finance meetings, and we just try and look as if we know what they're talking about.
Speak for yourself.
You're only ever interested in if you're getting expenses or no. That's your problem.
Yeah. But as well as being treasurer, Lizzie's got some exciting hobbies that she has out with dancing. She's an umpire at cricket, and various other hobbies that she's got that we'll delve into more in next month's Blether.
But she holds the purse strings for the society. It'll be interesting to hear how all that works for our members, which is great. But anyway, in the meantime, Jennifer, thank you so much again. Best wishes to you and the family, and I look forward to seeing you up at His Majesty's Theatre in Aberdeen with the dance team. That'll be absolutely terrific. And we'll catch up again next month on the Blether. So in the meantime, it's goodbye from him and me.
And it's goodbye from me and him.
Cheers. Bye.